With just one cold punch and an unblinking stare, Jason Statham burst onto the scene in the transporter like a fresh wind in Hollywood, a place where heroes didn't need capes. Just authenticity, that raw, dangerous, and grounded image helped turn him into one of the highest-paid action stars in the world. With over $6.5 billion in global box office earnings and a personal net worth nearing $100 million, Jason rose from a man who once sold counterfeit goods in London's street markets to a firmly rooted member of Hollywood's elite. But that journey wasn't made of fame alone. He nearly lost his life when a truck's brakes failed and plunged into the sea during a stunt. He faced criticism for using harsh language on set, and at one point, both the media and insiders began to question, was Jason just another short-lived body phenomenon? But no storm ever brought him down, because Jason never built his career on gimmicks. He lived the same way he portrayed his characters, quietly, with discipline and unwavering focus. No complaints, no arguments. He let time speak for him through action, through consistency, and through simply being present. If you enjoy stories like this, please remember to hit the like button. It helps us a lot. And feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. How did a former street vendor go from hawking goods at flea markets to the bright lights of Hollywood and million-dollar mansions? Jason Statham was born in 1967 in the seaside town of Great Yarmouth, England, into a working-class family. His father, Barry Statham, was a pub singer and part-time street merchant. His mother, Eileen, was a dancer who once performed on small local stages. They lived in a rundown apartment above a corner shop, where the cold sea wind whistled through the cracks at night, sharp and bitter, like the quiet worries that weighed on the adults in their tiny kitchen. Jason would sit down to a simple dinner of dry bread, but his eyes still sparkled, not because of the food, but because of the dreams, even in the face of hardship. That boy never stopped believing that life could stretch far beyond the makeshift stalls of the marketplace. From a young age, Jason followed his father to the flea market. There, he learned survival through hard bargains, cold stares from customers, and the unforgiving shake of a head on windy mornings. He stood beside his father, watching him command the moment with a firm voice and a crooked smile. Little did he know that those lessons would one day shape the grit of an action star, not someone who waits for opportunity, but someone who creates it. No matter how tough life was, Jason's eyes always lit up at the thought of something greater. Then, he found passion in an unexpected place, the icy waters of a swimming pool. Jason became a promising diver, competing for Britain's national team, representing his country at the 1988 Seoul Olympics and the 1990 Commonwealth Games. But despite years of rigorous training, a string of disappointing results slowly extinguished his Olympic dreams. At age 22, Jason walked away from the team, carrying with him a deep sense of disappointment and a kind of aimless uncertainty he couldn't yet define. He once shared that nothing stings more than pouring your entire youth into a single dream only to watch it vanish in silence. That Olympic failure taught Jason something important sometimes. Letting go is the only way to find a new path. And just when it seemed he had hit bottom, from the ashes of a broken dream, an unexpected opportunity changed everything. Jason Statham didn't walk into Hollywood through the doors of a grand stage or elite academy. He came in from a dusty street market in London, armed with a hustler's instinct he learned from his father. A past with nothing to lose. And one simple belief: real opportunities only come to those who step forward when it seems like every door has shut. On the streets of London, Jason sold knockoff jewelry, but on a film set, he sold something far more valuable: himself. After letting go of his Olympic dreams, Jason stepped into a world far more practical, the bustling stalls of street markets, where everything was for sale, even survival. He had no fame, no formal training, no agent, just a steely stare, a fighter's physique, and a natural gift for persuasion, sharpened through hundreds of gritty negotiations. Then came a twist of fate. In 1998, director Guy Ritchie was looking for a real face for his new film, Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. At the audition, there was no script, no lines. Ritchie simply tossed Jason a fake gold ring and said, "Sell it to me." Jason didn't flinch. In 5 minutes flat, he spun a story about it being a stolen Victorian royal heirloom. He dropped his voice, cradled the ring like it was a rare diamond, and finished with a sly wink. The casting room erupted in laughter. Richie clapped and said, "You are the guy." The paycheck, just $7,000. The fame, not yet. But that moment laid the first stone in what would become a multi-million-dollar empire. And that old street hustle, the same grit that kept him alive on the curb, would later earn him a Beverly Hills mansion and a garage full of supercars. But could one small role really make him a global action icon? The answer came in 2002 when Jason landed the lead in The Transporter, a modest-budget action film that needed a real tough guy, not a CGI creation. Jason didn't hesitate. He trained in karate, kung fu, and kickboxing. He leapt from trucks into rivers, he crashed through glass himself, and in one risky stunt, when the crew stalled in doubt, Jason stepped forward and said, "I'll do it." Standing on the Transporter set, dust stuck to sweat, he thought back to those freezing mornings behind his old market stall. After landing the role, he had called his father the man who once taught him how to sell, and said, "I just sold the hardest thing of all myself." The film unexpectedly pulled in nearly $240 million, catapulting Jason onto the global action map. But with fast success came even bigger challenges in Hollywood. From Crank and Death Race to the Expendables series and Fast and Furious, Jason built a name as one of the few action stars who never used stunt doubles, no gimmicks. No green screens, just raw grit that made audiences hold their breath. And like Jason's story shows, sometimes opportunity knocks not with a script, but with a challenge. And even when it feels like every door is shut, there's always one worth kicking open. After the breakout success of The Transporter, Jason Statham was no longer a newcomer. He became Hollywood's go-to man whenever the script called for a real action hero, no capes, no tricks, just grit and raw muscle. At a time when cinema was overflowing with CGI and superhero suits, Jason went the other way. No helmets, no latex, no grand monologues. He simply walked in, took the hit, delivered the blow, and ended the fight in the time it takes to catch a breath. That quiet simplicity is what set him apart. From Crank, The Mechanic, Safe, to Parker, these films didn't just rake in box office numbers, they helped cement Jason's signature style and action star without embellishment, carrying a quiet depth, unshakable principles, and the recklessness of a man who once had nothing to lose. Then came a turning point, The Expendables. Standing alongside childhood idols like Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and Jet Li, Jason held his ground. He didn't fade into the background. He became the face of a new generation of action stars, few words, heavy presence. From Fast and Furious to Hobbs and Shaw, every film he joined became part of a growing brand. Today, Jason is among the rare actors whose name alone can fill theater seats. With over $6.5 billion in global box office revenue and paychecks reaching $15 million per film, Jason isn't just an actor, he's a safe bet for success. And once he found solid footing in Hollywood, Jason stepped into a different kind of world where money, houses, and supercars weren't dreams anymore. They were choices. For a man who once sold knockoff goods on street corners and lived in a cramped flat in Great Yarmouth, setting foot in Beverly Hills wasn't just an achievement, it was a quiet statement he'd made it. Not just through his roles, but through the life he built. Tucked into the sunlit hills of Beverly Hills lies Jason's $13 million estate, a space where time feels slower. Designed with minimalist modern architecture, the home features low-profile roofs, crisp white walls, and full-height glass panels that open to sweeping views of the valley and California's clear blue sky. Inside, wide plank white oak floors meet cool-toned interiors, stone gray, deep walnut, matte black, creating a sharp, understated elegance. The 24-foot ceiling in the living room leads out to a manicured backyard with a solar-heated pool, shaded by perfectly trimmed California palms. This home doesn't boast with crystal chandeliers or expensive art. It speaks through a private gym, a cozy home theater, and an open-concept kitchen where Jason and Rosie often cook for their 2 children. It's more than a residence, it's a reflection of who he is: calm, strong, and intentional. Before this, Jason had invested in a property in Los Feliz, Los Angeles. He purchased it for $2.7 million, spent nearly a year renovating everything from lighting systems to transforming the backyard into a personal training space. When he sold it, the home went for $7 million, not just a financial gain, but proof of a sharp eye for value and design. Across the Atlantic. He once lived in a penthouse in London's fashionable Chelsea district, overlooking the Thames, styled in classic industrial fashion with exposed brick, steel-framed windows, and a balcony with skyline views. That apartment was never for show, it was for remembering where he came from. And then there are the rumors that Jason owns a second home in Malibu, perched atop coastal cliffs facing the Pacific, though he's never confirmed it. Paparazzi once captured a quiet moment Jason in a simple t-shirt, carrying his daughter along the morning shoreline. Not an action hero, just a father who found the right place to breathe. And once the walls were built, Jason started filling the roads with the one thing he's always loved even before the fame speed. The crown jewel of his garage is the McLaren Senna, worth over $1.5 million. This isn't a car for city drives, it's a machine made for the track. His model is wrapped in matte titanium gray with exposed carbon fiber accents like the armor of a warrior. Inside, it's stripped to the essentials, no screens, no extras, just the wheel, racing seats, and the roar of a twin-turbo V8 inches behind his head. He's been spotted driving it along the Pacific Coast Highway at dawn, mist in the air, silver waves on his left, and silence broken only by speed. It wasn't a performance. It was a private moment between a man and the machine he trusts most. Another bold choice, a jet-black Lamborghini Murcielago, LP 640 at 6.5 LV12 engine roaring like a jet on ignition. Jason often takes it on long drives, especially after late-night shoots. No passengers, no music, just an open road and the quiet feeling of still owning his rhythm. On the other hand, he also owns a silver-gray Aston Martin DBS Volante, a convertible designed not to draw attention, but to speak class without words, cognac leather seats, hand-stitched detailing, and a Bang & Olufsen sound system hidden beneath the dashboard. It's his pick for taking Rosie to formal events or private getaways to Malibu, refined, elegant, the gentleman's action hero. And there's the deep red Ferrari F12 Berlinetta, rarely seen, but always felt, whenever it pulls out from the Beverly Hills garage. Its V12 engine signals the start of a real-life action scene, not on screen, but in the world outside. And of course, no collection would be complete without power SUVs like the black Range Rover Autobiography, his family car. Spacious, sturdy, and incredibly safe. Paparazzi once caught a glimpse of Jason in a simple tracksuit, opening the door so his son could step out at school. Still Jason, but in another role, the role of dad. Altogether, his car collection is valued at over $3 million, but the real worth lies beyond the numbers. Each vehicle tells a story, a deliberate choice to stay in his own lane instead of following the crowd. Hollywood is known for its all-night parties, champagne toasts, and flashing cameras. Jason Statham lives differently. A typical day for him starts at 6 a.m. while Beverly Hills sleeps. Jason stands on his porch with an espresso in hand, gazing at the still pool behind his home. Then it's 1 hour of training, hitting the bag, jump rope, planks under morning light. No private coach, no Instagram videos, just discipline. His meals are shockingly simple: boiled eggs, avocado, oatmeal, warm lemon water. On days off, he shops at local farmers markets, hand-picking tomatoes and onions. Not for show, for joy. When it comes to spending, Jason favors restraint. No trendy designer brands, no watch swapping every season. He sticks to timeless, lasting items: a black-faced Panerai watch, a Belstaff leather jacket, worn Chelsea boots. His closet is a quiet palette of black, gray, and white, just like him, clear. No frills, no need for explanation. On social media, he's almost silent. His Instagram shows a few behind-the-scenes shots, cars, rare family moments, no slogans, no soapboxes. He believes in the value of keeping things private. To those close to him, Jason is funny, thoughtful, and fiercely disciplined, even with a packed filming schedule. He makes time to take the kids to school, share dinner with Rosie, or simply build Lego with his son in the living room. Rosie once said, Jason can kick down a door on set, but at home, he's the one who folds the towels. In a world chasing loud luxury, Jason chooses a different kind of elegance refined in its restraint. There are days when Jason Statham is the hero on screen, charging through gunfire and car chases. But when the garage door closes and the lights go down, he returns to something far more important: a man, a husband, a father, and the role he values most. He met Rosie Huntington-Whiteley, British supermodel and actress, in 2010 at a quiet gathering of close friends. At first, many doubted the match: a 20-year age gap, a quiet action star, and a fashion icon striding across the world's biggest runways. But more than a decade later, they're still together, steady, respectful, and far from the spotlight. They got engaged in 2016 and welcomed 2 children, son Jack in 2017 and daughter Isabella in 2022. Jason often says his proudest moments aren't box office numbers, but hearing his son call him dad for the first time, or holding his family close on nights he's not filming. In a rare interview, he once shared, "I didn't grow up with many choices. Now, I want my kids to grow up surrounded by love but still learn to value every small thing." Jason's family is rarely seen in the press. They live quietly in their tree-shaded Beverly Hills estate, sometimes flying back to London or spending weekends in a seaside home rumored to be in Malibu. Not to escape fame, but to keep a small piece of life just for themselves. Rosie once described Jason as practical to the core, and it's that steady presence that made her trust him completely. Not grand gestures, not flowery words, but the small things: a hot cup of tea when she's tired, or taking the kids to school so she can sleep an extra 30 minutes. Behind the movies, the money, the motors, and the muscle, Jason Statham chooses family as his true home. The one place he doesn't have to be strong, he just has to be there. Even the brightest stars have to face the dark. So how did Jason Statham make it through? Hollywood isn't just lights and red carpets. For Jason Statham, it's also a place where one careless moment can cost you everything: your career, your reputation, even your life. In 2014, while filming The Expendables 3 in Bulgaria, Jason was behind the wheel of a 3-ton military truck for a stunt sequence. According to the script, he had to drive the truck toward the ocean, then brake at just the right moment. But the brakes failed. The vehicle went out of control and plunged nearly 30 feet into the sea. Panic swept through the crew. In those terrifying seconds, Jason, a former competitive diver, relied on sheer instinct to escape from the submerged cabin and swim to the surface before the truck sank completely. He survived by a hair's breadth. Jason never gave interviews about it. No drama, no headlines. The next day, he quietly returned to set and kept working. To him, it wasn't a badge of courage. It was simply the responsibility of a man who had chosen this path. But to his castmates, it was proof of something deeper: courage, professionalism, and a quiet determination that never needed words. In 2015, Jason faced an unexpected controversy on the set of Wildcard. An audio recording surfaced, allegedly capturing him using inappropriate language toward crew members. Jason immediately denied the claims, stating the clip was taken out of context and edited. Though the issue faded quickly, it left its mark. From that point on, Jason became more guarded, far more selective with interviews, and remained almost entirely silent in the media for the next 3 years. But perhaps the deepest blow didn't come on a film set, but in his personal life. For years, Jason was in a serious relationship with actress Kelly Brook. They lived together, planned a future, even discussed marriage. Then, in 2004, news broke that Kelly had been unfaithful with actor Billy Zane. The breakup was instant. The media frenzy was relentless. Yet Jason never lashed out, never gave angry statements. He simply stepped out of the spotlight and stayed gone until Crank marked his return. And then, as if life was offering him a second chance, Jason met Rosie Huntington-Whiteley. Their love didn't come with flashbulbs or headlines, but it brought healing. From a near-fatal accident and professional turmoil to heartbreak, Jason Statham never lost his footing. He didn't shy away from pain, but he never let it define him either. And maybe that's why he's more than just an action star today. He's a man who's learned, above all, to treasure what matters most: life itself. Can an action star leave behind a legacy greater than the films he's made? To many, Jason Statham is the embodiment of toughness, speed, and high-octane cinematic stunts. But for those who look a little deeper, his legacy isn't in the punches he throws, it's in the way he lives quietly, honestly, and with deep self-respect. He doesn't make grand gestures or boast about giving back, but Jason has quietly supported more causes than people realize. He's a frequent contributor to organizations like Together for Short Lives, which helps critically ill children in the UK, and Inner City Games Los Angeles, where he helps create athletic opportunities for underserved youth. In recent years, he's also taken part in behind-the-scenes relief efforts supporting refugee programs and emergency response campaigns. You won't find any of it on his social media. Jason doesn't post about what he does, he just does it. And in that silence, his actions carry even more weight. In the entertainment industry, Jason has become a symbol of inspiration for a new generation of actors, those who didn't come from prestigious drama schools or formal training, but who carry discipline and drive in their hearts. Actor Tom Holland once shared that Jason was his role model for learning to do his own stunts. Simu Liu, Marvel's first leading Asian superhero, has also expressed admiration for Jason's quiet intensity and focus on set. Off-screen, Jason has earned his place as a subtle style icon. He's been the face of Hugo Boss, collaborated with Ray-Ban, and is often described as the best-dressed man who never tries too hard. But perhaps more importantly, he proves that real presence doesn't come from a label. It comes from how you choose to live each day. Now in his 50s, Jason has slowed things down to spend more time with his wife and 2 children. He no longer accepts every role. He turns down parts that don't suit him and only signs on for projects he truly believes have meaning to him. Real success isn't about doing more, it's about knowing when to pause and give your time to what you love most. Jason Statham reminds us you don't have to be perfect to succeed. You just have to be real in how you live, how you love, and how you overcome